Did you know that an astonishing 80% of people who identify as overly kind report experiencing burnout or emotional exhaustion? It's a surprising fact, isn't it? But there's more to it than meets the eye. You see, when we're excessively kind, we often give without expecting much in return. And while this altruistic approach is laudable, it can also lead to disappointment when the kindness isn't reciprocated. That's why it's not uncommon for overly kind individuals to feel emotionally drained. They're constantly giving but not replenishing their emotional reserves. It's like trying to fill a cup with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never seems enough. But it doesn't have to be this way. By setting boundaries and recognizing our own capabilities, we can prevent these negative consequences. It starts with an understanding that we can't always be the one to take care of everything. We need to train people around us to respect our boundaries and appreciate our efforts. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about preserving our emotional health and ensuring we have enough energy to give to the people and causes that truly matter to us. It's about understanding that we can't pour from an empty cup. Moreover, recognizing our own capabilities is about understanding that we can't be everything to everyone. We all have limitations, and there's no shame in acknowledging them. In fact, it's a sign of strength and wisdom. Remember, kindness should never come at the cost of your own well-being. It's important to be kind, yes, but it's equally important to be kind to yourself. So, the next time you find yourself on the verge of emotional exhaustion, stop and ask yourself, am I being overly kind? Am I setting healthy boundaries? Am I recognizing my own capabilities? Now that we understand the potential downside of excessive kindness, let's delve into some strategies from Stoic philosophy that can help us avoid falling into this trap. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, teaches us the importance of self-responsibility. This principle, deeply embedded in Stoic thought, encourages us to act without expecting help from others. And when we choose to extend our hand in aid, to expect nothing in return but gratitude. Imagine a world where everyone lived by this philosophy. A world where each individual took full responsibility for their actions and expected nothing from others. It's a world where disappointment and emotional exhaustion are significantly reduced. This is the world Stoicism envisions for us, and it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. You see, the core of self-responsibility lies in setting boundaries. It's about recognizing our own capabilities and limitations. It's about not allowing others to underestimate our responsibilities. This isn't about shutting ourselves off from the world or refusing to help others. Instead, it's about maintaining control over our actions and emotional health. When we set clear boundaries, we protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. We prevent ourselves from falling into the trap of excessive kindness, where we give and give until we have nothing left for ourselves. We avoid the disappointment that comes when we expect something in return for our kindness and don't receive it. Setting boundaries also allows us to have healthier relationships. It keeps us from becoming enablers, from allowing others to become dependent on us. It ensures that our relationships are based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than on one-sided generosity. But setting boundaries is only half the battle. We also need to maintain them, to stick to them even when it's difficult. This requires a great deal of self-discipline and inner strength. It requires us to stand firm, to say no when we need to, and to prioritize our own well-being. By incorporating this Stoic principle of self-responsibility into our lives, we can create a balance. A balance where we can still be kind and generous, but without sacrificing our own emotional health. A balance where we can help others, but not at the expense of our own well-being. By prioritizing self-responsibility, we can create a healthy balance in our relationships and avoid the negative consequences of excessive kindness. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with reason and virtue. At the heart of this philosophy lies a profound understanding of responsibility and how its prioritization contributes to our well-being and sense of self. Excessive kindness, while admirable, can often lead us astray from our own needs and responsibilities. It can make us forget that, above all, we owe kindness to ourselves. The key to avoiding such a pitfall lies in the delicate art of balancing our responsibilities and prioritizing self-care. Stoicism teaches us that our duties and responsibilities are not burdens to be avoided, but rather stepping stones on the path to virtue. In fact, the Stoics believed that it is our very responsibility to live in accordance with reason and virtue, aligning our actions with our best judgment and moral character. When we fail to prioritize our responsibilities, we risk becoming overwhelmed, consumed by the needs and wants of others. This can lead to burnout, emotional exhaustion, and a feeling of loss of control over our lives. However, when we do prioritize our responsibilities, we create a protective boundary around our well-being. This boundary allows us to maintain control over our actions and emotional health. It helps us discern where our duties end and where the duties of others begin, preventing us from overextending ourselves in the name of kindness. Prioritizing our responsibilities also means prioritizing self-care. It means recognizing that it is not selfish to take care of our own needs, to rest when we are tired, to say no when we are overwhelmed. In fact, it is essential for maintaining our well-being and preventing the deterioration of our mood and self-importance. This is a key Stoic principle that can help us avoid the negative consequences of excessive kindness. It is a reminder that while it is noble to be kind and generous to others, we must first be kind and generous to ourselves. By setting boundaries and prioritizing our responsibilities, we protect our well-being and maintain control over our lives. And in doing so, we stay true to the Stoic path of living in accordance with reason and virtue. Stoicism teaches us to value discernment and wisdom in choosing whom to help. This wisdom, embedded within the Stoic tradition, is a guide to navigate the seas of kindness without capsizing into the stormy waves of exploitation. The Stoics believed in the power of reason and self-control. They saw these qualities as the tools to effectively manage relationships, to help us discern the genuine from the disingenuous. But how do we apply this in our everyday interactions? Firstly, we must understand that self-control and objectivity are not inborn traits, but skills to be honed. It's like exercising a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. When we regularly practice self-control, we become adept at recognizing our emotional responses and can better manage them. This, in turn, helps us to remain objective, even when faced with emotionally charged situations. Secondly, we need to cultivate the ability to discern the intentions of others. This is where wisdom comes into play. Wisdom is not just about knowing what is right or wrong, but understanding the complexities of human nature. It involves recognizing patterns of behavior and understanding the motives behind them. By doing so, we can identify those who genuinely need our help from those who might take advantage of our kindness. Now, this isn't to say that we should become cynical or suspicious of everyone around us. Far from it. Instead, it's about developing a balanced perspective, one that allows us to give generously while still protecting our own well-being. Remember, kindness should never come at the cost of our own self-respect or peace of mind. If our acts of kindness leave us feeling drained or taken advantage of, it's a clear sign that we need to revisit our boundaries and perhaps exercise a little more discernment. In the grand scheme of things, it's about creating a balance. A balance between our desire to help others and our need to protect ourselves. A balance that is rooted in self-control, objectivity, and wisdom. By practicing discernment, we can ensure our kindness is directed towards those who truly deserve it. One of the most powerful strategies from Stoic philosophy for avoiding the negative consequences of kindness is learning to say no. This small word, no, has the power to change the course of our lives, to protect our time and energy, to avoid draining situations, and to maintain our self-control. Saying no is not about being selfish or unkind. It's about recognizing our own limits and preserving our well-being. It's about understanding that we cannot do everything for everyone all the time. We cannot pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. So it becomes crucial to ensure our cup is never depleted, and saying no is a significant step towards that. In the realm of Stoic philosophy, saying no is seen as an exercise in wisdom and self-control. It demands a clear understanding of our responsibilities, our values, and our capabilities. It asks us to prioritize our own well-being over the desire to please others, a principle deeply rooted in Stoicism. It's about recognizing that our time and energy are finite resources that we must steward wisely. The Stoics believed that we should be generous with our time and energy, but not to the point of self-depletion. They argued that we should help others, but not at the expense of our own well-being. They understood that saying no is not a rejection of the other person, but a necessary act of self-preservation. Saying no can be challenging. It can feel uncomfortable, especially if we're used to always saying yes. But with practice it becomes easier, and the benefits are immense. We protect ourselves from becoming overburdened, from feeling overwhelmed, from sacrificing our own needs for the sake of others. We maintain control of our own lives, of our own happiness. By learning to say no, we can value our time and energy and ensure our kindness is not taken for granted. We can avoid the negative consequences of excessive kindness, maintain balance in our lives, and live in accordance with the wisdom of the Stoics. Remember, it's not about being unkind, it's about being kind to ourselves too.